Have you ever noticed how history has this strange way of circling back? Nations that once slammed the door on Christianity, sometimes violently, sometimes silently, are now places where Catholicism is alive, growing, and in some cases exploding with devotion. Think about that for a second. These aren't just dusty statistics in some textbook. These are living, breathing stories. They come from faraway islands, busy city streets and quiet mountain villages, places where the church once struggled to survive and where today the faith is thriving in surprising, even miraculous ways. Over the next few minutes, we're going to journey through 10 countries that once rejected Catholicism, places where the gospel was banned, persecuted or hidden away, and see how, against all odds, Catholicism has risen again. But before we begin, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe and ring the bell, because I promise you these stories will not only inspire you but also remind you that faith has a resilience the world cannot destroy. Number 1. Lithuania. Let's start with Lithuania, a small country with a big faith story. For centuries, Lithuania was the last officially pagan nation in Europe, holding tight to its ancient traditions even while its neighbours had embraced Christianity. That all changed in 1387 when Grand Duke Jogaila married Queen Jadwiga of Poland. To secure the alliance, he accepted baptism, and Catholicism was planted firmly into Lithuanian life. From that moment on, Catholicism wasn't just another religion, it became the very heartbeat of Lithuanian identity. But faith there wasn't always smooth sailing. Under Russian imperial rule and later the Soviets, Catholicism was heavily suppressed. Churches closed, priests were spied on, and public worship was punished. And yet the faithful found a way. Take the Hill of Crosses, for example. Families would sneak out under cover of night, planting crosses in defiance of the authorities. Each cross said the same thing: you can't erase belief. By the time Lithuania regained independence in 1990, the hill was covered in thousands upon thousands of crosses, a silent but powerful witness of resistance. Today, about 74% of Lithuanians identify as Catholic. Pilgrimages are alive, feast days are celebrated, and Catholicism is as much a part of their future as it was their past. And while Lithuania's faith was rooted in an alliance with Poland, our next country tells a story of faith that went underground, completely hidden for centuries. Number 2. Japan. Picture Japan in the mid-1500s. Jesuit missionaries, including St. Francis Xavier, arrived with the gospel. Converts grew quickly, and by the late 1500s, tens of thousands of Japanese had embraced the Catholic faith. But then came the Tokugawa shogunate. Fearing Catholicism as a threat to social order, they banned the faith outright in the 1630s. Believers faced a stark choice: renounce their faith or die. Those who refused became known as hidden Christians. For over 200 years, they passed on the faith in secret. No mass, no priests, no sacraments, just whispered prayers, oral traditions, and icons disguised as Buddhist statues. Imagine keeping your faith alive like that for centuries. Finally, in 1873, the ban was lifted, missionaries returned, churches were rebuilt, and hidden communities revealed themselves. Today, Japan has about 437,000 Catholics spread across 773 parishes. And Nagasaki, once a center of persecution, is now a city of pilgrimage and faith, a place that whispers to the world, faith can survive even in silence. Number 3. South Korea. South Korea's Catholic story is unlike any other. Why? Because the faith didn't arrive first through missionaries, it began with books. In the late 1700s, Korean scholars visiting China encountered Catholic writings. Inspired, they baptized one another and began small faith communities, without ever meeting a priest. The ruling Joseon dynasty wasn't happy. Persecution came in waves, with thousands martyred. One of the most famous was St. Andrew Kim Taegun, Korea's first native priest, executed in 1846 for daring to return after studying abroad. But the seed was planted. By the late 1800s, missionaries were finally allowed in, and the church began to grow. Today, Catholicism in South Korea is booming. Nearly 6 million members, vibrant parishes, and even missionaries sent out to more than 90 countries. From hidden beginnings, Korea has become a global center of Catholic faith. Number 4. Vietnam. Vietnam's story is one of fire, sword, and even a Marian apparition. Catholicism arrived in the 1500s, but it wasn't welcomed by the emperors. Laws banned the faith, churches were destroyed, and believers were executed. In 1798, a small group of persecuted Catholics fled into the jungle of Quang Tri province. There they reported seeing the Virgin Mary appear at Lavang, promising comfort in their suffering. That site has since become one of the most important pilgrimage destinations in Asia. Despite wars, colonial struggles and communist restrictions, Catholicism survived. Today, about 7 million Catholics worship freely in Vietnam, with the shrine of Our Lady of Lavang drawing crowds of faithful every year. Number 5. Mongolia. Imagine a nation where Catholicism all but vanished for centuries, only to rise again from almost nothing. That's Mongolia. Catholicism first arrived in the 1200s but disappeared completely. By the 20th century, under communism, there were literally fewer than 20 Catholics left. But when democracy returned in 1992, missionaries came back. They started small, building parishes and schools. By 2025, the number of Catholics had grown to about 1,500. It may be a small number, but it's a living miracle, and one that gained global attention when Pope Francis himself visited in 2023. Number 6. Cambodia. Cambodia's Catholic community was small but growing until the Khmer Rouge seized power in 1975. Religion of any kind was banned. Priests were executed, churches destroyed, and Catholics disappeared into hiding, or worse. After the regime collapsed, survivors slowly rebuilt. Today, Catholics remain just a small minority, about 0.4% of the population. But their presence is strong through schools, hospitals, and relief work. In a nation still healing, the Church's quiet service has earned respect. Number 7. Albania. Albania once declared itself the world's first atheist state. In 1967, communist dictator Enver Hoxha banned all religion. Churches and mosques were destroyed, priests imprisoned, even owning a crucifix could get you arrested, yet believers held on in secret. When the regime fell in 1990, faith burst back into the open. Today, about 10% of Albanians are Catholic, and processions once banned by police now fill the streets with prayer and music. In number 8, Ukraine. Ukraine's Greek Catholic Church was outlawed in 1946. For 40 years, it survived underground. Masses were held in forests and barns, priests were secretly ordained, and catechism lessons were whispered from parent to child. In 1989, the church was finally legalized again. Today, nearly 12% of Ukrainians are Greek Catholic, and the church is not only thriving, but serving as a major force for humanitarian relief during the current war. Number 9. Romania. Romania's story echoes Ukraine's. In 1948, the Greek Catholic Church was banned and absorbed into the Orthodox Church. Believers kept the faith quietly in homes for 40 years. When freedom came in 1989, they emerged again. Today, hundreds of thousands of Romanian Catholics openly worship, though property disputes remain. Still, the faith is alive. Number 10. Timor-Leste. Finally, Timor-Leste, a tiny nation with a huge Catholic identity. During Indonesia's brutal occupation, 1975-1999, the church became the voice of the people, speaking out when no one else could. Churches became sanctuaries. Priests became leaders of resistance. When independence came in 2002, Catholicism was not just a religion. It was the spine of the nation. Today, 97% of Timorese are Catholic, making it one of the most Catholic countries in the world. And there you have it. 10 nations, 10 incredible stories of faith, once rejected, now thriving. From the crosses planted secretly in Lithuania to the whispered prayers of Japan's hidden Christians. Faith can be silenced for a season, but it can't be erased. So now I want to hear from you. Which of these stories moved you the most? Do you see echoes of these revivals in your own country or community? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to read them. And if you found this journey inspiring, don't forget to like this video, share it with a friend, and subscribe so you won't miss the next chapter in our exploration of faith around the world. Because remember, the story of faith isn't finished. It's still being written, everywhere, every day.